So I think there's a really interesting thread on Blue Sky about VR because it's why I don't make VR games. So I often get asked, "Hey, you were there at the beginning of the Vive," and will say that was one of the favorite experiences I've ever had. So why don't I make VR games? Well, this is a really good explanation of it. So they're talking about Alex and how Alex just wasn't good enough. It was a fine game and VR game, but it just wasn't good enough. And so Velasquez comes in here and he says, what is telling is that Alex played everything so safe. One-handed guns, no arms, slow movement speed, etc. Not because of shareholders or anything, but because of best practices have been found for VR and it's kind of boring. That is kind of true, right? That is definitely what they were going for. And one of the reasons why like people ask, well, why did you leave before shipping Alex? I'm like, it just wasn't my thing. But then Anton here follows up and nails it. And so Anton, if you're not familiar with him, here's what he said. But he made hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. So he's like well versed in this kind of thing. So let me read it for you. He's like, I don't know. I think it's because a bunch of people in their 30s and 40s built the game, Alex, and they were largely oblivious that the growth market for VR kids is flinging themselves around environments like howler monkeys. There's a non-productive generation divide. Now, that's kind of true. But I would say it's less about the generational divide and just there's certain people who can play games that make other people sick. So hold on. And while it's true that often it's younger is more adaptable, and if you start it early, you can play VR and you can play crazier stuff that would get me sick right away. It's just not that. It's the hard truth that most people in VR don't want to hear, and that the kind of experiences that he's talking about where people fling themselves around and you kind of disassociate your movement from the head movement and all of that stuff that just makes me sick instantly, makes most people sick instantly. There is a cap to people who can play those kind of games. Even if everybody started playing them right now, there'd still be a cap to it. And there's like the whole VR legs and all of that stuff. For some people, you're never gonna get VR legs, and I don't care how many times I say that. And in fact, as you get older, often the other thing happens is you can take VR less. But there's a really, really small number of people in this world who are gonna say, hey, I'm gonna go play a game tonight before I go out, and it may make me sick and ruin the whole evening. Like, people don't do that. And it's really hard to get people to understand that because the people who don't get sick just don't think anybody gets sick and everyone's lying or something. It's weird. But so that is the growth market right now in VR, is those crazy games that will just make me sick instantly. So I shouldn't be the old man yelling at the sky and saying, no, you got to play the games my way. I looked and said, I get what people like. I can't make those games because I don't enjoy them. I can't play them. So that would be silly of me to try to impose and say, oh no, these are what you should play. They're wrong. Right? I had a game idea and then I saw that. And I was just like, no, like I can't play these things, but equally, I can't make them either. And so what we'll find is people who don't get sick making or playing these things should be making them, and they should be having those experiences, and then it'll grow. Will that mean then VR will grow and it will take off? No, because most people still get sick. But for the people who don't get sick, there's a bunch of awesome, amazing experiences that I'm jealous of. I wish I could play that stuff, but I can't. I'll just get sick, and it's just not fun. So good luck with that. And that's that really hard thing of something that is a part of helping launch this latest, generation of, which was one of the best experiences of my time at Valve. I can't participate in because I can look at that and I can understand that. So that's when I talk about like other people telling you not to play games and all of that. I'm always for the making of more games. And I am also for understanding my place and what I'm good at and not good at and what I should make and not make. And it's okay. Not everything's for everybody. And and that's the same with VR. But I just thought it's an interesting thread. I'll link to it in the comments.